What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, RAF ESPARZA, coming to you with another great installment of the Bullpen. I hope that you guys are excited. We are excited. It is finally here, the Craig Jones Invitational and ADCC week. And yes, everybody is stressed. Bless us. I don't know that we're like super stressed. I think we're regular people stressed. But if you see the stories of both Craig Jones and like Mo, like, yikes, check their blood pressure. I just want to say this. We're very excited for both of these events. I know there's a lot of drama. So if you're here and you feel a certain way about one of them, that's totally good. Just remind yourself of one thing. We're all here to have fun. We're all fans of jiu-jitsu. There's no reason to ban people for zero reason. Though that does get happened a lot in this sport. So just don't be a dick, you guys. It's a nice world. There's no reason to hate anybody right now. But I think you're going to see some very intense emotions all around the world because guess what? A lot of people wait for this, and this is a premiere week for our athletes, and we will be doing our best. And yes, as a reminder, we are doing coverage out in Las Vegas. We'll get more to that here in just a second. But before we move on, I would like to say hello to a longtime friend of the show, our good friend and yours, Tim Freeman. Tim, how are you doing, sir?
Hey, Raf, what's up? Man, it's here. I got my early check-in for Southwest tomorrow. I'm hopping on a plane, leaving Nashville for Las Vegas. I'm going to land. I'm going to find you, and we're going to set this baby on fire. I can't wait. Kevin, I want to see you too because I know you're going to cause some trouble. I like you, Kevin, but, man, the things that I hear about you, it's like I don't know what you're doing. Maybe there's like another Kevin that we have to get to know. But I think we're gonna find him this weekend. So I'm stoked for that too. Let's go.
Yeah, okay. I mean, listen, he's just blurring the lines here like the great heel that he is. Kev, obviously jiu-jitsu sweetheart, the most popular man in all of jiu-jitsu. Kevin Sherrill, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, man. You know, I'm just a messy bitch that loves drama.
Here's what I will say, and I'm very clear about my thoughts on this. I do think you're a good candidate if we ever do a Real Housewives kind of spinoff for the sport. Like, you're just one of the characters in my wife's show that she would watch and be like, Kevin, I mean, he's dangerous. I don't know about him. Like, she would say something like that, I'm sure, about you in a certain way. Oh my God, you're going to be one of the Vanderpump Rules. That's exactly what we're going to do with you. Genius marketing here. You know, Kev, you're new to the group. You've been on the other side as an athlete. What are you most looking forward to in terms of being on the media coverage side? Because I got to tell you, if you thought being an athlete goes without its due, wait until you see the glory that is working as a media member.
Yeah, honestly, I've like joked around with the media members when I've been on these shows, been on PGF, and everybody's always like, "Oh man, I know this is a crazy week for you." And I looked at you at the time, and I was like, "Bro, I work 18 minutes a day. Like, I don't envy your job." And here I am. This is succeeding downward. You know, I'm gonna go put way more work in for way less praise. It should be a great time.
I'm glad you
make
see
tons of friends. Yeah.
Well, I hope you do make tons of friends because I've heard to the otherwise. And listen, I will tell you this. Some people won't put hands on you, but if you screw up enough on my show, I might. And I don't know what happens because I think what happens is you get to a certain delirium point around day 2. Like, day 1's great. Everybody's in a good mood. Day 2 is fine. But since we'll be on air close to 12 hours that day, and there's also an Israel Adesanya fight, and there's also all this drama going on and all the ambitious things that we're going to do, I don't know exactly where my brain's going to be at. So I apologize in advance for anything I may or may not do. But Wallow J says, hello, fellas. Aged says 18 minutes a day when he's not taking spa days, which, fair. You know,
vacation days, man. You get vacation days.
Vacation days. You know, the best part is you are one of the people to understand the concept of leaning into something where somebody's like, yeah, you suck. And you go, okay, go for it. And you just kind of do that well. And I think that's one of the admirable traits that you have that most people who complain about people on the internet do not have. All right, gents, we are going to be in Vegas. Very stoked for that one. Before we even get to the board, I want you guys to right now tell me one thing that you are very excited about for the weekend. Now, you know what the board topics are. They're different than this. But what is one thing, Tim, that you were excited for this weekend?
I'm excited to get into that crowd and feel the energy at both arenas. I'm very interested in how the crowd feels at CGI. It's CJI based on like I'm in my brain. I just think they're going to be excited and happy. And is ADCC going to be like tense or serious, or will it have the same vibe? I'm really curious, and I can't wait to sort that one out.
Beautiful. And Kevin?
I'm genuinely excited to see like I know we've had like, because there are two shows, there's this idea that like ADCC or CJ, neither one is going to be like as deep as we've seen in the past, but jiu-jitsu is super deep. Like this is the most competitive it's ever been. I'm really interested to see like who steps up and makes a name for themselves, who is given this shot that maybe they were on the outside looking in. Maybe they just got the invite because someone fell out or whatever, and they go on a tear. They medal. They make a name for themselves. I think it would be a poetic and ironic twist if Craig Jones, who made his name beating Leandro Lo, was known before, obviously, but made his name beating Leandro Lo and put himself on the map at ADCC, turned around, created CJI, caused a whole bunch of ruckus, and let somebody in and let them do that for themselves.
Very much so. So, and one of the board topics we have kind of gets to the heart of the underdog spirit, but we're actually going to transition to that right now. So looking at this, gentlemen, I'd love to ask for the topical first part of our show, if you wouldn't mind telling me a little bit about your latest predictions for the ADCC bracket. Now, here's the thing. The ADCC bracket doesn't actually get revealed until Friday night at like 7 p.m., which really means 8. And then they make everybody face off against each other. So I think that's how they learn who they're facing. They're told beforehand, allegedly. But they get brought out, they have the face off, and then they go. So I thought we would take this last opportunity to try and figure out any major predictions before anything gets leaked out or anybody says anything. I'm going to start with you on this one. Kevin, tell me a little bit about what it is you are predicting in terms of those brackets.
So in terms of the brackets, without going line by line, I think Francisco Andre is the closest thing we have to a lock in his division. That's a really dangerous guy. It was very interesting seeing him at the last ADCC, where he was in the same corner of the bracket as, I believe, Kolabate and a couple other like massive names. And I was like, man, that right there is a semifinal, that corner of the bracket. I think Francisco Andre is a huge favorite. I think Kynan Dwarch is very dangerous, as far as he is one of those athletes that shows up for this event. I don't think anybody saw his final against Craig Jones going that way necessarily. They may have had Kynan locked in as a winner, but to have 11 stall calls, 9 stall calls, penalty points put against you, and just repeatedly. My dog's excited for ADCC. Sorry, guys.
Your dog's like, no, I want to get my opinion in too here.
I got things to say. Yeah, we have a fourth co-host tonight. Yeah, I think Kynan is one of those guys that shows up and does business. There are some guys in the bracket that I am hoping and believing will have the upset on his story and make a name for themselves. We all know who it is. But yeah, those are my two big ones that I'm like, those are two massive names, two very experienced competitors in this rule set, who just even if everyone was in the division, those had to be two of your favorites.
Copy that. Tim, tell me a little bit about who you feel is going to get matched up, if at all, on these brackets.
Was that Nicholas Maragali barking when you were calling for Kanan to best him? Maragali's already posted his thank you speech for winning double gold at ADCC, so he's running deep. For that bracket, it's kind of hard to pick against him right now. Like he's on a serious run, but there is some talent in that bracket in Juore. There's also your boy Paul Ardea, right? I think he's competing in that as well. So I think he is, right? So yeah, there's some guys in that division who definitely could best Maragali, but I think right now that division's Maragali's to lose. Under 88 kilogram, I think Bodini's the favorite coming into it, but Ryan Aiken is kind of flying under the radar a little bit. He's kind of been listed as like a dark horse. I think he has a real good chance of making the finals this year, and I'm looking for him to maybe pull off a major upset, which would be pretty cool to see. He's been pretty active in all the formats, and he's doing pretty damn well, so I think he has a strong chance there, especially coming in with a great coach like Sean Applegate, who I think is not, I mean, he's on the radar, but he's kind of overlooked a little bit. I think Ryan's going to come in with a strong game plan and do really well. Outside of that, under 66 kilograms, I think Diogo is still the favorite there. I think Diego Pato has a chance to best him, but who knows, right? That's going to have to play out, but that's a pretty stacked division. Under 77 kilogram has a couple guys that I don't think we thought were going to be in this. One is Gary Tonin and the other's PJ Barch, both guys that didn't, initially they weren't on these rosters. We know that Mika's the favorite. We also know that a lot of dudes dropped out of this division and ended up in CJI. And I don't know if that's going to impact Mika's, excitement and his ability to really get up for this. I think there were some guys that he really wanted to get rematches with that he's not going to have that chance now. And, I don't know if that will impact his performance or not. But for sure, Tonin is a guy that's super hard to pick against. I know he's been doing a lot of MMA, but that does not mean that his no-gi grappling is suffering per se. And then PJ Barch is a perennial elite level dude. We saw him at the PGF. He got tons of experience going up against those guys all, in a matter of 4 or 5 days. And I think that's going to sharpen him even more. So that's a pretty tricky division to call. I think, Mika's probably the favorite, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's an upset there either. I'm actually I feel like I've been too pumped for CJI and I'm looking at the ADCC brackets going like, this is going to be pretty damn good as well. So overall, it's going to be a great weekend.
I mean, everybody's going to have time to shine. It's just been in this sense of, I think everybody's been trying to say the momentum is with Craig Jones Invitational. The ticket sales are still with ADCC because Gordon has been very clear about reminding people, oh, look at these ticket sales. They're not sold out. And yet at the same point, neither is ADCC. ADCC still has tickets to walk up available. So I love when people start arguing about ratings or ticket sales when they themselves don't have the full grasp of it. Because the other thing that's missing from this is, have you seen anybody successfully sell ADCC tickets? I sure as hell haven't.
No, and it's all over.
I've said it before on the show. I think we maxed out everybody's credit cards. It's a lot of money to come in. I know people are bitching, but you can get good seats for Craig Jones Invitational for a fairly decent price. It's just, do you want to pay for that after you have already paid so much money for ADCC tickets? But I have seen people just short of begging, like, please take these off me. Just for the love of God. And I think I saw somebody get reposted that said, we have to get rid of these. And I go, it's a tough world, my guy. I don't know that we're going to be able to do that.
It's like dumping a timeshare. You can't give it away.
But it's like you go up to people and you're just like, hey, you listen, bitch, you want to go to ADCC. you come here right now. You take these tickets off me. So I think both events are going to do just fine. I think neither of them necessarily going to sell out, but I am intrigued to see the crossover that happens between people who go to both. I think that day, that Saturday, is going to be a very telling day in our sport as to where people go, because maybe it's a little empty the day one of Craig Jones Invitational, but maybe they build up. Maybe it's the true underdog 90s slow clap moment in a movie where everybody shows up, because they did pick a start time that makes it so that you could go see the majority of ADCC's day one of competition. So just saying, it's not out of the question here that either of them is really either home free, sells out, or even looks embarrassing, because let's face it, we used to be in really awkward gymnasiums with Tai Chi halftime shows. So we've made some improvements. All right, gents, let's go to our next topic right now. And while we are still on the topic of Craig Jones Invitational, there is one thing that I think was bugging Tim in the back of his mind. So when he presented this to me and said, I'd like to do this for the topic, I said, I really wasn't thinking about this, but I'll entertain it. Will anyone go over the pit? Now, this begs a true WWE-esque over-the-top rope sort of element to the proceedings that I wasn't thinking about. But everybody's wondering about all the cool shit you do off the pit, back into the pit. Nobody's talking about if they fall out, like they just dump out of the pit. So I'll start with you, Kevin. Do you have any concerns that people are just going to like fold out like laundry out of the dryer to the outside of the pit regions?
Concerns? No. Am I excited for when it happens? Yes. I think it's going to be a fantastic time. I'm not concerned. Everybody here's an adult. I am a little worried, I guess, for whoever's sitting on the other side of the wall, because I've actually I've had my mom sit mat side before at a Fight to Win event when Tex Johnson and Hulk Barbosa went off the stage and landed on the table with my mom while I was in the corner for Tex. And I had a split moment where I went, Mom, no. So I may have some PTS triggers that come in. I think it's almost certainly going to be Pat Downey and Luke Rockhold. I think if you're going to take somebody out of the pit, I think it's got to be with intention. I think if Andy Varela makes it out of the first round versus Joseph Chen, who Joseph doesn't seem like Andy may try to take him out the pit. Joseph seems like he'd make some moves to make that not happen. He's pretty aware. He's pretty savvy. He's willing to pull guard. I don't see Pat Downey and Luke Rockhold. I see them as being the type of guys to butt heads and be willing to kind of try and sling each other around a bit. So I think that's where that goes. If Andy makes it past Joseph and gets in some later matches, I think we probably see Andy run some people out of the pit to send a message at some point. I think that's got to be some of the fun, right? Like, you go to a NASCAR event and you try to catch a wheel, you get to take it home. I think it's the same thing for jiu-jitsu. They land on you and you're like, sick. I get this black belt, right? He's going, hopping in the car. We're good. Cool. Awesome.
Wait, is that what happens at NASCAR? Do you get to keep the wheel?
No, absolutely not. I think
you die. Wait, what the hell did that? Listen, I don't follow it enough. You could have fooled me here. And I was like, wait, is that a thing where like when they retire, they get the tire out? There's a guy who gives it to a kid who just like tumbles over with it. Yeah. It's just like Dale Earnhardt gave me that little bit of wheel one day, and I said I'm going to be a NASCAR driver. The Daily Stack.
There's a wheel section in the arena.
Well, the Daily Stack did make mention. He said splash zones are now a premium seat. So that is an interesting aspect. Tim, you prompted this question, so I have to entertain it. What are you concerned about? Or what is it that you're thinking is going to happen here?
Well, what I'm thinking is whoever is the first dude to throw somebody out of the pit, is going to get like a 3 million view reel right out of the gate. They're going to get a huge bump. They're going to be a big winner just for doing that. And then I started thinking, like, can this actually happen? Like, are there guys that can do it? I think that Kevin makes a great point with Luke Rockhold and Pat Downey. For sure, you could see that happening. The other one, I could kind of foresee this. I could picture this. Is William Tackett. He's undersized for that division. All right. There's going to be some big dudes in that division. And he seems like he's going to try to break dance off that wall and do something flashy. And I wouldn't be surprised if João Rocha puts hands on him real hard and just encourages him over the sidewall. And I think it'll be a big boost. I think it'll be cool to watch. Whoever does it second is also, it's going to be cool. But the first one to do it, that's a big deal. If I was going to CJI, of course, I would want the $1 million, but my backup would be like, can I run a dude out of the pit? Maybe I could bait him up towards me and then do like a little throw by or something, but for sure, running someone out of the pit, it's $1 million move. Craig's got a bonus that. That should be a bonus. 100% it should be a bonus.
Can I bring up something that I'm not sure people have thought about? You guys were mentioning it as like an add-on to the plan. For Andy Varela, I think it is the only plan. I am fairly confident in saying there is no meet in the middle Max Holloway moment from Andy Varela. I think it's the opposite. I think Andy Varela is pointing to the actual edge and going, meet me at the edge and let's see what happens.
So,
meet me over
Andy
there.
Does the thing where he calls right before you hit a homer, he calls for it.
I know we talked about a wheel going off. Egghead says, if you catch a wheel, you die, which is actually accurate.
Yeah.
But I would point this out. Andy Varela is so committed to the fans. I think he takes that Babe Ruth point and lets like the audience member know, like, Ms. Sherrill, this is happening for you right here. This is coming your way. Which, by the way, I love that you slid that in. How many of these random weird gems that we don't purposely program here do we continue to find about you? How did your mom almost go and get squashed by two ginormous men? And we never talked about that.
Yeah, I think Tex hit a wrestle up on him, on Barboza, and ran him off the stage. And my parents, I competed that night, and my parents were sitting at a table mat side. And if you watch the video of the stream, I'll send it to you. You can see my mom and my dad go as they careen out of the way, and Tex and Hulk land on their table.
That is
I'm
awesome.
glad that you have that footage. But if I were your parents, and it sounds like they're better people than me, I would have stopped endorsing the sport, supporting you. Like, that would be my last experience at jiu-jitsu. I would say, you know what, son, you made some weird choices in this life, but God bless, Godspeed. I won't be watching anymore. Nonetheless, gents, I think it's time we move to our next topic. Here we go. We touched upon this a little bit earlier with underdog mentality. Kevin was saying, if you want it, you can get it. If you are part of those individuals, those 132 odd athletes that have been selected to compete over this weekend. But it begs the question, who is going to have their biggest day? What underdog will have their day? I'm going to start with you, Tim. Tim, what underdogs do we need to be on the look for?
Well, when I like to take you always put a positive spin on my negative topics. I love it so much. I really was looking at who's going to have the worst day. That was kind of the way I was.
Hold on. Let me put this back on. I legitimately wasn't sure if it was a typo or a mistake. So when I read it, I just thought, oh, okay. Yeah. Who's going to be the biggest upset, or who's going to have like the showcase moment? I just read it a certain way. I didn't purposely do it. Instead, you're telling me like, no, Ref, you read that entirely wrong. I'm trying to say, who's going to have the no good, shittiest, worst day of their lives? Well, Tim, take it away. Time is yours.
Well, for CJI, there's going to be 14 of them. Legitimately, like anybody that doesn't walk away with that $1 million is going to be pretty damn upset about it. especially if they do poorly, because they might not get another chance at it again. I'm sure next year the amount of folks interested is probably going to be triple what was after it this time. So, I expect that. I think that there's a chance that either of the Rotullo brothers, I think they're coming in as favorites. I think there's a chance, if you look at their paths in the brackets and some of the dudes they have to face, I think there's a chance that either one of those guys could be upset. I know they're coming in pretty high level and they're both on a run, but I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. I don't expect it to, but I wouldn't be surprised. The other thing I was also looking at, and this is who's just going to be upset, is the Des Moines Submission Challenge that's taking place on August 17th. It's like, why would you book your show to take place on the biggest weekend of all the things that happen in jiu-jitsu? But good luck to them, and good luck to all the other things that are going on that day in the jiu-jitsu world, because I don't think anyone else is going to pay attention. I think people are only going to be focused on this and this solely. So yeah, I like the way you spun it. I tried to spin it back just a little bit to make it a little bit more, I don't know.
Tim, I don't think that any of this is purposeful spin. I'm not the ridiculous optimist of the group, and if so, read the group chat again.
Rap's like, don't make me the optimist.
No, I think anybody who hears this, who knows me, goes, what the fuck is happening? Is Raph having a face turn? No, I just read what I read and I go, okay, well, I don't get it, but I'll get it when I get it. And then, if I have questions, I send notes to you guys. So, okay, Kevin, let's indulge his prompt here. Who's going to have a shitty day? There you go. Kevin Sherrill, your time.
I'll answer both versions. The two-face coin of this question. Who stands to gain, to have their Cinderella moment, to come up in the biggest way if you look at their path? I think there's a lot of potential. Obviously, we haven't seen the ADCC brackets yet. I think there's a lot of potential for Andrew Tackett, Nicky Ryan's first round matchup, to have a Cinderella story and be a millionaire by the end of this. I think it's a long shot that he wins the tournament overall. No disrespect to Andrew Tackett at all. It's a tough bracket. I think betting on any one person is pretty rough. I think it's a long shot. And the flip side of that is Nicky Ryan is going to be mad as hell if he is going to be the most upset person if he ends up being the first stepping stone in that story. Yeah, as far as the ADCC side, anybody that sets foot across from the homie Paul, MF, and Ardea is going to be very upset as he tears through this division.
Well, I saw that your mom put something in the chat, by the way, that basically read...
No way.
Yep, she's watching. She's a big fan. I enjoy her. She's very supportive. And you know what's weird is like, I get the mom support from her that I think you get, because she's like, good story, babe. You're doing it. And I'm always like, look at this, is so nice. I'm so used to being like, we put up something where the female boxer is suing and people are like, that man needs to take a seat. And you go, gee, I don't want to do any of this. Okay. So to get someone that's just like, yay, that was funny, is like, oh, this is good. But she said, mom in danger, taking risks. So yes, very much so. The commitment cannot be questioned here. And it says low life, Tim's no spin zone, which kind of, I mean, if you ever watch my interviews, I'm definitely no spin zone, and I have tickets to both. He also adds, so very excited to see that. And gents, we have to press on. We are short on time for Tim, so we're going to get through as much as we can while we still have him here. But I think
I'm hanging, dude. Let's go.
All right. Well, this is a critical part of our show, which is there any advice that we can give the individuals who are going to be attending the events this weekend? Because nobody thinks about the people attending. Everybody wants advice for the competitors. Fuck the competitors. They're fine. They know. Go out, submit, guy. Don't get submitted. Pretty easy. But the audience members, that's a tough gig. I think it's time that we look at ways that we can help the audience to have the best experience possible. Tim, why don't you tell us some advice for those audience members attending this weekend?
Yes, 100%. Number one, don't take rides from any strangers who are offering to take you between events. Be careful. Number two, in all seriousness, don't get too wrapped up in CJI versus ADCC, and I'm rooting for CJI to win or CJI to lose or ADCC or whatever. This weekend's really for the athletes. These are the guys that stand to win a lot. Even the ones that don't win $1 million as a whole, this is a gigantic step forward for the athletes. So tune in for them, support those guys. I know that you might not want to support particular promotions or platforms, but this is one of those weekends where I think you should set that aside and actually support them and do what you can, because this is going to be a big push for jiu-jitsu. And the further we push this along, the better the product is going to get. My other advice is, if you're in Las Vegas, it's going to be 105 degrees. So make sure you drink water. If you're going to drink water, add salt electrolytes to it. It's super important for you. And they're also coming on as a sponsor for this weekend's event. Go to saltelectrolytes.com. Use the code INSIDEBJJ15. Save 15%. Stay hydrated, folks. It's dangerous out there.
You know, I would be really mad if I said I was angry that you slid in an endorsement, but they are sponsoring us. So I'm actually the most proud producer there is. I didn't even know it was coming. So when I saw it happen, I go, you sly son of a bitch. You can put on 2 more topics if you want this week. That's perfectly fine. Our thanks to Salt. We appreciate you guys for coming on board. And yes, you did mention something here. I'm going to expand on that after Kevin, but Kev, what are your pieces of advice for the audience members who are going to both of these events?
All right, I'm going to talk super specifically because I'm going to talk super specifically about how to approach athletes. You guys are going to see a lot of your heroes. You are going to see a lot of athletes who are competing or competed first day, maybe didn't do very well. Only one person per bracket, in all likelihood, is going to be happy. Some of them may, maybe they get bronze. They didn't think they were going to make it. They're pretty happy. Some of them may be pretty upbeat. You don't really know. But you can assume, I think it's safer to assume than not, they're going to be unhappy. So as an athlete that's been on that side, that has had rough performances and still had to shake hands with people and talk to folks and still try and be approachable, I'm going to talk to you guys about how to approach these dudes. When you see, Hanato Canuto walking around or whatever, he's actually an easy one. He's super nice. But you see one of these other guys walking around and you want to talk to him, little bit of advice. Simple. One, you tell them positive things. I liked your performance. I like you as an athlete. All the good stuff. Hey, man, I've been watching forever. I'm a fan. I'm a friend. If it's true, don't, BS people. If it's not true, maybe just don't walk up to them. If you have advice or questions about what they did in their matches and their performance, hey, man, why didn't you pull guard? Hey, man, why didn't you wrestle it out? Just skip those. Just skip them. They are going to have been asking themselves those same questions. They'll ask themselves those questions for like the rest of their lives. Please don't be the stranger that just echoes that into their ears. Hey, man, why did you make better decisions? Why didn't you win? Like, I promise they tried. I promise they had a plan. They did the best they thought they could at the time. Come up to these guys. Tell them how much you appreciate them. Tell them how much you enjoy watching them. You're still a fan. Can't wait to see what they do next, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That is appreciated by all but the biggest divas. That is really appreciated. When you're like all these high pressure situations, you're looking back and you're going, man, I can't believe he swept me. A dumb little thing. Oh, man, I tapped to that thing early. I think I could have got out. And you're sitting there feeling like an idiot. It means the world to some of these guys if you walk up to them and tell them, hey, dude, genuinely, hey, you did awesome. It was really cool watching you. Can't wait to see what you do next, man. You're great. There's your, maybe take it all with a grain of salt if you're reading Kevin Sherrill's How to Make Friends and Influence People, but that's my guide.
Thank you very much, Kevin. What a heartwarming moment. All right, allow me to speak really to all of our audiences. First and foremost, tribalism, have it. I don't care. At this point, support what you love. That's more the issue. Support what you love and enjoy what you love, but don't be a dick. I think that's the bigger issue. Most of you, in trying to support what you love, just argue against the other thing, negating the happiness of the other people. You don't have to go that far. So if you're going to be tribal, just go enjoy Craig Jones. Talk about the nose beers all you want. Kudos to you if you get to the nose beer joke first. It's like the first person that said, I'm Rick James, bitch. So classy, so smart. Number two, I know that Kevin was saying, don't approach the athletes and, don't say mean things to them. No, this is the time to air your grievances. Here's why. They're at a weakened state. They've already been beat. So they're really already mentally defeated, which means you have the best shot you'd ever have against most of these phenomenal athletes. And two, they don't think clearly. So all they're wondering is, why do you hate me? Why don't you love me? And then all you have to do is just say like, well, if you would have wrestled, you would have won. Anyway, I got my popcorn. Good to see you. Bye, everybody. So I'm just saying, yeah, you could listen to what their advice is. Here's the advice from an actual old person. Number one, plan your food accordingly. Do not pay the T-Mobile Arena prices for food. It is going to be too expensive before you go have a healthy snack. And I'm talking like real go, if you're a meat eater, and I hope that you are, go for burgers, go for something with high fat, something that makes you feel like you're not as hungry until later. So that way, when you get a snack, you'll be able to make it through most of the event and you don't have to get that concession food. Tim, in true dad form, said drink water. I'm going to tell you one better than that. If you're an energy drinker, start early with it. If you're not an energy drinker, figure out what your stuff is. If it's caffeine from coffee, if it's caffeine from sodas, just get it in your system. It's a long freaking day. And finally, here's the big one. Tune into our show. Don't watch other shows. Watch our show. There's going to be other watch parties, sure, but they're not going to get interviews. They're not going to do hijinks. They're not going to have fun in the way that we're having fun. And I'm going to be in a suit in the middle of August. I don't think you understand what that means. When I'm in a suit acting as your head anchor for this telecast, I am sweating for you, America, because I love you. And I want you guys to have a great experience. So my advice to you is watch for some more fun antics with us all week long. That's it. All right. Chance,
great advice, Raph.
Thank you. Thank you. You were the one that came in with the sponsor, so I can't really get mad. Gents, we forge on to this next one, which is, well, listen, next week there's going to be a whole world order change. But the question is, what do we want next? We've been talking about this week for months, for years possibly. What do we want next week? So I'm going to start with you, Kevin. What is it that we need? What is it that we need or that you want come next week when the world has changed?
I would like to see that Miata that Craig Jones is giving away. I would love to see what's next. I think let's forget about this competition shit. That's sideshow. The real show is the Miata. I want Craig Jones to not wait to buy Gordon's used cars that he's sold off. He needs to start stealing his possessions and selling them at raffles. That's the way to go. That's the next step. That's the escalation. I don't want him to tell anybody. I want Gordon to be the only person who goes, are those my golf clubs? Those are my golf clubs. And he just goes, these could be someone's golf clubs. I don't know. Found them on the street. Fell off the back of a truck. Plausible deniability. Here we go. I think that's the next step. Start auctioning off suspiciously familiar items from Gordon's personal home. For legal purposes, this is a joke. I don't encourage any law breaking whatsoever. We hear it, the grappling hour in the bullpen.
Oh, no. We 100% have no attachment to you right now. This is all you speaking as a private public citizen, sir.
I said we're all going to jail together.
Listen, you can try whatever you want. I know what my lawyer said, and I know what AI can make you say. So I'm very confident about how my odds look. Thank you for that, Tim. What does your afterlife for this week look like in terms of jiu-jitsu?
I mean, I'm looking for a couple of things. One is I'm highly interested to see if the person that wins the money does anything outlandish the very next week. Like if Andy wins, he's going to buy a tiger. You know, he's going to get like a big, giant, exotic cat. You know, he's going to do it. That's what he wanted to do with his PGF money as well. He wants to get a cat, man. You know, I'm looking for stuff like that. I'm also looking for the opposite. I would like to hear what guys say the following week, what they were going to do with the money, but they don't have it, so they're not going to do it. That would be cool to hear as well. The other thing, like for real though, is I'm kind of interested in what the PGF comes up with next, because that's kind of the next big event on the horizon. And I imagine they got something cooking. They seem to be like awfully quiet right now. You haven't heard very much out of them. And, you know, they're always got something going. So I want to get a whiff of what's going on over there, start setting my sights on that, and kind of see how this weekend has, if at all, impacted what they're going to do for season 7 in terms of promotion and monetary prizes or whatever. So I'm looking forward to seeing all that's going to come out of it.
Well, I mean, it's not going to be very long that you have to wait, because they have a qualifier that happens the very next weekend. So yeah, this isn't a very far off thing. This is all coming together very quickly. I think the thing that I would impress upon you guys in terms of what's next, if you're really smart, what you should do is figure out all the people who didn't win, because I know that was alluded to here, and I think you can hit them up for privates. Because listen, if you thought you were going to win $1 million, I'm pretty sure most of these guys are going to be like, oh shit, I thought life was going to be different. They're probably going to discount their private rates. So get in on that. Good upside. Ask for a good deal. Buy multiples and support your local athletes. Because you're either coming home with $10,000. And as Adam Bradley mentioned, guess what? He's already spent that in preparation for this tournament, and he has no problem with that. Having said that, not everybody can do that. And if you're at ADCC, you're only going to go like 2,500, which I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it'll cover some of your stuff. Probably most of these people's like cycles, if you would be honest. But it's not a ton of money, so hit them up. See what you can do from that. Just again, guys, always thinking. Gents, let's move on to our next topic here. I appreciate that topic. Kevin, this is directed at you because according to Flow Grappling, Atlanta is at war with the world. Why is Atlanta at war with us? And why is everybody so obsessed with civil war that even the headlines are like, yo, you got some beef with Atlanta? We're ready to see you out. Like, why are you guys at war with us right now? What are we missing?
First of all, you guys are not special. Atlanta is at war with Atlanta as well. We are all constantly fighting each other. The community out here, I don't care what anybody tells you about, like, oh yeah, it's such a good. We are all hostile as hell. like it is a very competitive environment out here. I think Atlanta and Georgia feel disrespected by the broader community. They are always talking about Austin. They're always talking about LA. They're talking about New York. They're talking about Brazil as these hotbeds of skilled athletes. And at one point, when the ADCC opens were the new hotness, at I think it was 170 and 185, there were two weight classes where 7 of the top 10 guys were from Atlanta. Like, very specifically, we are deeply competitive on a large scale. And I don't think we get the respect and the love and the acknowledgement from the broader community that we feel we deserve. We maybe get it, but I don't know if you guys have ever seen Real Housewives of Atlanta. Not to go back to that, but like people seem to assume that as a reality show, it must be some sort of exaggerated parody of people on the far end of the spectrum. And as somebody who has worked in a Starbucks, I can assure you that is not the case. That is your average Atlanta resident right there. All that attitude, all that chip on the shoulder, all that gumption, that is inherent in our culture. Atlanta thinks we're better than you, and most of us would like a chance to prove it.
Okay. Well, we're, again, learning a lot. Did not know you worked at Starbucks, so that's going to help for this weekend when we send you on runs. Number two, I like the fact that you name dropped Los Angeles. Like, you don't have somebody who's from there on this call. Okay.
Anybody can get it.
That's fine. That's fine. I have no issue with that. I feel pretty good about our odds here. And you know what? I feel pretty good about calling some friends from Atlanta, too, if I do get into trouble. I know they got my back, too.
They will answer the phone.
Team, I know I could make one phone call, and I would be well supported here. This is very easy. Now that I'm thinking about it, my odds are pretty good here.
In about 20 minutes, I'm going to be getting my ass beat. So
yeah, no, this is exactly what I want. This is great. Tim, I guess the question I have for you is, what say Nashville in all this? Because does Nashville have anything here? He was saying, oh, Atlanta felt disrespected. People don't mention Atlanta. Nobody's mentioning Nashville. So what does Nashville have to say, sir?
Well, I don't think Nashville feels disrespected. Nashville actually has a pretty cool jiu-jitsu scene here. And for the most part, everybody gets along pretty well, especially in the no-gi side. We cross-train a lot, and there's a lot of talented dudes coming out of this area. The grappling's getting pretty good out here, man. Actually, it's not, I wouldn't say it's Atlanta. Obviously, it's not Austin or LA, but it's definitely on the up, and it's growing all the time. There's lots of people moving here, and there's lots of people who move here who do jiu-jitsu, and so it's adding to the jiu-jitsu scene out here, and there's a lot of cross-pollination of techniques. So it's actually pretty cool. I felt like California was way more like, I'm in this crew and they're in that crew, and these guys don't train with those guys, and these guys can only do those guys on Sundays, but not those guys on Tuesdays. And this place you could wear the blue one, but not the green one. It was just like too crazy out here. It's just, we just want to train, man. They're hungry for it. So
it just informs me you're not used to gangs. So like, it's just normal with gangs. You can't go certain places. You can't wear certain colors. It's fine. I get it. As someone who's been in 9 different gangs, it's very difficult. But what I would tell you is, you know, a lot of people read that headline a certain way. I read it in one particular way, which was, I have beef with Atlanta. I don't know if you guys know this, but I work in entertainment, and Atlanta be taking all of our jobs right now. So if anybody's got beef, it is non-jiu-jitsu related beef. One of my shows I worked on, literally yesterday, has gone to Atlanta, and I was part of the original crew, and they literally had everybody be like, welcome, 500th episode. And I go, those sons of bitches. Look at them. I'll get you, Atlanta. So I don't know that I'm on Atlanta's side, at least on the jiu-jitsu front. They haven't really done anything to me to front me on that side.
Jake is somewhere right now saying this man is dropping facts. Screw all those guys from Atlanta taking our jobs.
Listen, dude, I get it now. You know what? I suddenly hate Mexicans coming over here. I was thinking about it now. I'm like, man, they are taking our jobs. Except, wait, I'm Mexican. I should be taking someone else's job. I'm going to think about that one further. All right, gents, we're going to move on to our final little bullet here before we get to the gallery, which is, Tim, you always bless us. You bless the chat with a fight every week. And I look forward to it. And I have to admit, it crossed my path, but I totally forgot about it. I was in a mode of like, oh, we'll see what happens this week. I think this might be the fight. And then I just put it out into the world, and it came back to me. Thus, I know it must be true.
Beautiful.
Do you mind walking us through this, sir?
Not at all. I can't remember the...
Oh, no, hold on. It's a different fight. That was last week's fight.
I'll
Hold
walk
up.
you back through that one, though. That was
I
highly
mean,
entertaining.
Absolutely. It just makes me mad. All right, you guys are going to see me fix this on the fly. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. You're going to see it drop in right now. Yes. All right.
So I don't know what event this is, but the dude in the cap is in the hat is about to get smashed by the bald dude right there. So if we can roll it back,
Yeah, absolutely.
these guys are beefing. The guy with the hat, his girlfriend's kind of protecting him in the beginning. She's putting her body on him. And she's like, no, don't do it, baby. Now, I want you to look right above Hat Guy's head and look at the two guys in the crowd. The dude with the white T-shirt on goes bananas when this dude gets hit. So there's always a spilled drink. So the drink goes flying. And now bald dude's throwing hands with his sunglasses on his head, drops him. If you knock a guy out while you have sunglasses on top of your head, that's a G move. Like, that's a pretty high level move. I think he lost him in the scuffle, though.
So I have some notes and comments and thoughts on this.
Yes.
The first of which was when I initially saw this pop up. Okay, stay right here. Everybody take a moment. Did part of you not think that Fat Tito Ortiz was somehow involved here? Like, I had a moment where I was like, is that Tito Ortiz? And I saw it said Ortiz on the thing, and I go, what is this? Now, number 2, the dude wearing a hat. Is he or is he not a member of New Kids on the Block? Because it really did make me question things here. 3.
That's Donnie Wahlberg.
What'd you say about my mother? Okay, we can sell this right now, son. And then look at her. You mentioned about her putting herself in the middle of the scuffle and adding protection. I'm going to go one further. She's even making sure the drink is safe at a distance away from their bodies. So, like, she's like, no, honey, we paid $26 for this beer. I am not losing it right now. So even as she's getting involved, hands switches it out and then makes it a weapon. Like, I have to tell you, she definitely gets MVP here. Now, you talk a little bit about everybody else. Let's talk about the supporting players. Look out to the far right-hand side. The Afro, walking away. Not interested. No, sir, let's all walk backwards. I'm not there. So the question I always have about these things is, when you notice that like 12 people have cell phone footage, why is it we always see one? Like, why do I not have Scorsese angles on all this shit? Like, give me angle 3, give me camera 2. It just makes me mad when I go, I want to see the other angles, please. And especially the people who have it on the vertical side, I'm like, the resolution's probably a little better. But if I can get a mix on those and the widescreen, I want all different angles possible, please.
Can you humor me and run it back one more time? I just saw something that I want you to look to the far right of the screen. There's a guy with a shirt that says security on it.
Yes.
Now I want you to watch what he's already out of frame. As soon as the fight starts, the guy with the security shirt backpedals. There he is right there. Watch. The hands go, and he goes,
watch.
Oh, no.
Oh, shit.
No.
Nope.
No. I'm not.
Hold on.
He never shows up. Instead, the yellow shirt guy, the ticket taker, has to come in. That guy sells hot dogs in between fights. He had to step in and put hands on the bald dude and walk him out while security guy backpedaled to the break room.
The weirdest thing, I've never seen a real life Homer Simpson get submerged back in the like grass like that ever before in my life. Like that dude said, "Uh-oh, trouble's happening." It's so good. Oh, Kevin, do you have any black belt-esque analysis here? You have been in fights. You probably will be in a fight in the near future. Who knows? Is there any other sort of things that you can bring to our attention on this one?
Yeah, let's run this back. Let me do a little color commentary.
Yes.
He wants it bad at this too. Let's go.
All right. Let's talk about this. All right. So when we move back a little bit, let's talk about the misdirection going on here, right? You're going to see the slap. He bypasses a homie with the sunglasses on his head, bypasses the guard and goes straight to the back of the head. I think his beef is not with this gentleman. It's with the hat. He's trying to remove the hat, right? Clearly. Now for a split, there it goes. Hat's gone, mission accomplished. He's ready to walk off into the sunset. That's what it is. I think this is clearly a misunderstanding. This is hats versus sunglasses. That's the game. He said you're wearing the wrong, you are accessorizing incorrectly in my part of town. You didn't check in. This is what happens.
You know what the weird part is? And I should have assumed this. I was not ready for the hat knockoff reveal for this dude to be a bald dude. So, like, I didn't know that's what the dude looked like, but he definitely looks like a Hispanic cholo. Like, now that I see it, I'm like, oh, okay. I wasn't sure, gets it knocked off. Hey, Holmes, don't hit me like that, fool. And he basically made it into recess back in the 10th grade, and then it was escorted out. Now, Tim, here's the only thing I'm going to tell you about in the future. Like, I try to do you a solid here, but I can't ignore this part. I love when things cut off. Black screen's not the worst, but in the future, if we could, not include the part, like, I don't know if this is your personal bank. I don't know what this is.
It's just phone lock screen.
That's just art that I generated with an AI machine on my private time. Okay.
It's so funny that, like, I make those mistakes every once in a while where I go, I should cut it off. And I'm always thinking, I'm like, the worst thing somebody's going to see is, like, I was looking at Twitter and this was the joke I left off on. Or, oh shit, they're going to see the technique I was, like, trying to learn from some sort of YouTube.
Yeah.
Yours was 100% an ad for something else, like another fight ad. And I go, this motherfucker just snuck on a fight ad when we're not making money from that. So don't sneak on extra promotion if you can avoid it. And you know what? I wasn't going to bring it up, but the specific fact that it was a fight that I go, can we just monetize this even more? Because every little bit helps. So, all right, listen, Tim, I want to let you go, but while we have the crew here, before we get to kind of our things, I asked you for what you're excited for. I need you to tell me what you are looking forward to for our coverage this weekend the most. So what is it that you can promise people to expect from our shows this weekend, sir?
Well, this is what it is, and this is what I'm expecting, and this is what I think you should expect too. This is going to be the most engagement-based jiu-jitsu coverage that you've seen in real time, covering the absolute biggest jiu-jitsu event in our history in a way that's never been done before. It's not just us talking about it in a room. It's not just one guy out at one spot. It's everybody everywhere, capturing as much as we can, engaging, cross-pollinating ideas, and interacting with the folks that are watching at home. I think it's going to be a truly unique thing. I think this is the first time this has been done this way in the jiu-jitsu world, and I can't wait to be a part of it. It's super special to me, and it's a real honor to be here and do this with you guys.
Thank you much for that, Tim. Looking forward to doing another great few days of coverage here. It is going to be a intense weekend, but I will tell you this. Tim alluded to the fact that we're trying to elevate the way that we do interaction. And for me, I like creating atmospheres where people want to party with us and they want to see something that's a little bit more loose. Because if you ever watch those telecasts, I think the worst part about jiu-jitsu telecasts, if you ask any civilian, you go, would you watch this? And they go, I'm bored to death. And it just opens a little bit of a window where I say, well, what can we do to try to make it a little bit more fun? So we've come up with ideas. We've been brainstorming. We got a big group together, and we had a kickoff call. And I meant to get a screenshot of it just to thank those people a little bit later, but the team that we are assembling here is incredible. Many shows have them. We're lucky enough to have them join us on our team. So I'm very, very happy about that.
I got a screenshot. I'll send it to you.
Oh my God. Thank you. I'm so glad you did that. I'm mad that I didn't do that. And Kevin, what is it that you are looking forward to, and what is it that you think people can expect to see from us?
I'm really looking forward to being part of a historic event, right? Like we very rarely get to know in advance this is going to be a historic moment. Um, there's been a handful of times in my life personally where I've gotten to experience that, and it's been really cool. You know in advance you're walking into it, and it's surreal. And I think everybody that goes to ADCC and CGI this weekend, everybody that watches from home with your friends, everybody that shares this with the community, and your training partners and your teammates, needs to take a moment and appreciate that. For us personally, I am so excited to try and do a great job, make a bunch of friends, and do a great, clean, professional work, and still end up in some insane drama, probably escorted out of CJI,
Oh,
maybe in a
God, no,
personal
no.
beef
Please don't.
with some random guy. Like,
Yes.
I have no idea, man. I don't do this thing. It just happens. So I'm excited to see what pops off. I would be blown away if I didn't get to be just a spectator to all this like pre-written, implanted drama that's going to happen for sure. Like this is a high pressure, literally $1 million on the line event in CJI. ADCC has never been anything but dramatic. I would love to be just a spectator, but I am so excited to find out like how this all goes down and what twists and turns we didn't see coming. There's gonna be some.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, we're going to release Tim here, and then I'm going to close this up. But I do want to say thank you in advance, both of you guys, for your contributions. Tim, you are my co-partner in on all this. If you didn't say yes, we weren't going to do this. Like, it would have stopped right then and there. But to me, to be able to do an extension of the Fight Companion, but now to have more resources, now to really scale it up and go for the ambitious stuff, because we learned at PGF, people don't know what they want yet. You kind of have to show them. And I think the biggest benefit was we had the ability to show them what a sports center looked like, what a highlight show looked like, what a chat show about these topical issues looks like. So to me, I got excited, I got motivated, and I said, let's go further. And we're swinging big. I'm stoked about it. I know that a lot of it's going to land, and the stuff that doesn't land, I really don't give a shit at, because most people aren't trying. So I want to contribute to something even big and better. So I will say this, Tim, Kevin, welcome to the team. You've been doing great. We want to see you out there, and I think we have the right two individuals to be partnering with me. And what I'm really glad about is, Kevin, you'll get to experience what it's like to be next to the people as we do this. The remotes are very fun, but there's nothing like doing this in person when we combine forces. So I think you'll get to experience what that camaraderie feels like. And so anyway, Tim, get out of here. Kevin, I'll talk to you off air in a second. I appreciate you both. And I'm going to go ahead and close this bitch up. But welcome and appreciation to both of you guys, Tim and Kevin. See you guys soon. All right, ladies and gents, before we sign off, last kind of moments here. Super stoked to see you guys live from Vegas all weekend long. I kid you not. I will be on air for close to 25 hours. If you think that's too long to be with me, you would be right. So you can come in and out, but I would prefer if you hang with us for the whole show, because guess what? If you listen to the main broadcast, there is no way humanly possible they will have more fun than we are having on our show. We will make sure that we entertain you, we inform you, and every so often we laugh at ourselves and the absurdity of our crazy sport in the biggest week of its entire television existence. So very, very excited about that. And yes, thank you in advance to my team who is coming together, who is dedicating all of their time and their sleep and their everything to make sure that we do something that's a little bit better than has been done before. Last couple reminders, like, comment, and subscribe. It's going to be our lifeblood this week. So if you could, tell a friend, encourage people to watch along, be friends with us, and subscribe to us. If you aren't subscribed to us at Grappling Hour, I'd love it. But you can also subscribe to us at Inside BJJ and support our good friend Tim Freeman and his incredible show and the work that he does there. I can tell you about our Patreon, patreon.com/grappling hour. Yes, that helps. I can tell you about our Apple podcast and our Spotify pages. That's great. That's also very helpful. But I can also tell you this, join our raffle. We have some incredible sponsors, and I'm happy to announce who will be partnering with us for this week. I know that Tim mentioned that Salt is going to be joining us, but I'm so happy to tell you that Future Kimonos is coming in as a sponsor for this show. Not only are they going to be providing us with a few kits, but the majority of the kits that you are going to see for the raffle that you can enter. So if you go to our website, rafesparza.com or grapplinghour.com, and you enter in there for free, we assign you an athlete. If your athlete wins, you win. So that means we're going to be giving out a lot of prizes. And I believe each prize winner is going to get about like $150 worth of credit for a prize package from Future Kimonos. So please win yourself some gear, make it a great time, and go do that thing. We also have our good friends over at Gold BJJ who have been phenomenal. In fact, I already got the package. I was nervous it was going to get here on time, but they have already sent materials for myself, Tim, and Kevin, and we are stoked for it, and we cannot thank them enough for coming in and believing in our vision. So they are a huge part of what we have going on here. And yes, we do have our friends over at Drill Dice who are also going to be providing prizes for some additional features that we are doing this week. So stay tuned for all of that. All right, guys, just so you know, as soon as I hit the credits here for us, that is our week here at the Bullpen. That means we begin the true race. I literally pack up here and I will be in Vegas by late tonight. And then for the next few days, we'll see you all from Vegas. We appreciate the love and support that you give this show, and we cannot wait to show you what we have been working so hard on. So we love you guys. And last note here, it has been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.